Morocco has made steps forward in democracy and human rights. Well, as a government team, we thoroughly agree with that. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. First things first, let's define the most important word in our debate: democracy. Democracy is a government by the people, of the people, and for the people. In other words, it gives the power to each and every citizen to participate actively in the society. Democracy is such a powerful word on the language, a tremendous one. It is the mistress of all times, the key to our better lives, and one of the basics to survive. Many governments have been tried, and many more will be tried in this world. But without democracy, none of them are going to give any results. That's why, to make democracy work, we have to be participants, not only observers. Democracy is many things. It is the rule of the law. It is the ultimate representation of freedom, fight against discrimination, and respect for the human rights, which are a set of principles concerned with equality and fairness. They recognize our freedom to make choices about our lives and to develop our potential as human beings. They're about living a life free from fear, harassment, or discrimination. Morocco has undergone a significant transition in the recent years, making human rights and democracy a forefront focus. And ladies and gentlemen, as mentioned in our topic, there has been a transition, while there is much still to be done. Morocco has made changes that should and will improve its future. For instance, a lot of progress has been made on a number of human rights issues since the revision of the Constitution in 2011 and the creation of the National Council of Human Rights in 2012. We have also been able to see notable development in not only freedom of assembly and expression, but also women's rights and domestic workers. On the other hand, we can also talk about the organizations that are working every day to strengthen Moroccan people, such as National Human Rights Council that works on ending human rights violations, Moroccan Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which spends its efforts on reconciling past violations, and finally, Women's Rights and Gender Equality, which works on changing how women's roles are viewed in society. Morocco has opened itself to the world, allowing international human rights organizations to regularly visit and report on the country. International observers have generally given Morocco's elections a clean bill of health in the last decade. A real and largely peaceful debate takes place in the country with regard to reforms. Women hold leadership roles in government and business. To give you an example, in 2009, a 33-year-old woman won mayoral elections in Marrakesh. How many countries can say that they carried out peace and reconciliation efforts without a forced regime change? Morocco, for one, can. Thank you.
So after hearing what the Prime Minister said, I would like to put some points on some ideas that I agree on, like the definition of democracy and so on. Ladies and gentlemen, dear judge, dear government team, good morning. Morocco has made steps in democracy and human rights. As you all guess, our today's subject debate is a little bit unique. A subject that concerns us all, you, me, and also our dear opponent as future citizens. A subject that my team and I are totally against it. And we are here today to prove that Morocco hadn't made any steps in democracy and human rights. First, let's take it from the top. So to be able to discuss such a big concern, we have to know its content. And as we cannot know what's inside the box without opening it, we cannot also debate a topic without analyzing and defining its terms. So first of all, what is the first thought that comes to our mind when we say had made steps? Most of us think about development, road to success, and so on, which is kind of true. but not completed as an idea. Because when we talk about handmade steps, it's the fact to move from something which is basic to another that is more delicate. Allow me to explain myself by using an example to make it clear. As we all know, in 1961, the Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Alexeyevich Gagarin became the first human to travel into space. And that's what is called doing something unique. Let me explain more. It's like going from something that we can find anywhere and can be done by anyone to another that is unique and not most of people can do it. Which is not the case for our dear Morocco, of course. Now, let's move to the second part of the subject, which is democracy and human rights. What is democracy? As you can see, the word democracy is divided into two parts, demo and krasi. According to Quora.com, demo means people, and krasi means power, which leads to that democracy is a powerful system of government in which people choose their rulers by voting for them in elections. And for human rights, according to the official website of United Nations, human rights are rights inherited in all human beings regardless of race, sex, nationality, religion, or any other status. And of course, we don't find them in Morocco also. And to prove that to you, I will use an example. An example of a simple right, which is the right to be healthy. Do you really think that Morocco is making steps when a hospital, and I say a hospital, is telling the husband of a sick woman, and don't forget that this sick woman is dead right now, gone from her children, from her husband, or worse, her society, is telling him that they are giving her medicine when they don't? Really? Are you kidding me? Where is the development that you talk about? Where is the handmade steps? Where is the road to success? Where is that you claim to your opponents had made steps? I'm sorry, but I can't find it anywhere, and thank you.
Well, as we all know, people can't live with the same hair, same shape, or style either. There are always some changes, in a positive way or a negative one. So, dear audience, I'm standing here today to convince you that Morocco has made some real big changes in democracy and human rights. And you know what? It is in a positive way. Let's begin with what Morocco was like back then. I'll give only 4 examples. There are so many. I can give them all. No gender equality, no freedom of expression, no protection of individual rights, no equal social, economic, political, civil, and environmental rights between men and women. Yeah, they really did live like that, believe it or not. But something surprising happened in the 20th February 2011. It's the satisfaction expressed by the citizens in social media matured to public protests in more than 50,000 villages. Hundreds of thousands of citizens took to the street to demand their individual freedoms and fight all forms of discrimination as well as socio-economic justice. They demanded a new constitution, a change in government, and an end to corruption. Since then, a new constitution and government have been put in place. King Mohammed VI, who took the throne in 1999, had created a vivid layer of societal actors demanding relatively openly their rights. And according to the political activist, historian, and former director of the Center, Ibn Rushd, Mati Bounjib, what is unique in 2011 is the multi-partisan alliance between left-wing human rights and Islamic movements such as justice and benevolence, al-adl wal-ihsan, you know it all. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? When I saw the subject, my first thoughts were, I'll just ask my whole family about it, and especially my grandfather. All answers were like, women back in the days had no rights. No job, no right to talk about anything and everything. The legal age of marriage was from 15 to 18. They didn't even have the right to divorce. And sex outside of marriage remains illegal. I was so shocked when I heard about the suicide of a young girl who was forced to marry her rapist by her parents and conservative judge. That's all the information I took from my family. And if you live in 2019, you will absolutely realize that these laws are no longer existing. And women these days can work at any kind of jobs, can be whatever they want, can express whatever they feel, marry the one they love, and so on. So we all can see the huge steps that our King Mohammed VI have made from 1999 to now, and we still can see the results, of course. 20th February broke the wall of fairness and silence. Said Karim El-Wittasi.
Before I get started, I'd like to express my enormous gratitude for the opportunity that my teammates and I have been given to clarify, let some say, wrong ideas. Dear audience, hello. My partners and I negate the resolution which states that Morocco has made steps in democracy and human rights. Well, you maybe think we're wrong, but I am telling you that what you see on news, on internet, it's only what media want to show you. What you see, it's not the truth. Let me give you a quick hint about what we truly live. 3 million Moroccans suffer from malnutrition, while 7 million, more than the double, live with less than 20 dirhams per day, just at the limit of $2 per day of the poverty threshold defined by the World Bank, source bloody.net. 60,000 people, 60,000 Moroccans are dead because of medical negligence. A country where the legends say no one dies of hunger. Not taken. A country where the legend says that no one dies of hunger. Source bloody.net. 60,000 Moroccans are dead because of the medical negligence. Thousands of people are suffering from indecent living conditions. No shelter, no drinkable water, no medical insurance. And you're still talking about democracy and human rights. Seriously, you must be kidding. The Constitution of 2011, Article 28, provides the freedom of the press is guaranteed and cannot be limited by any form of censorship. Well, I think this is not the case. NGO Reporters Without Borders draws a diagnosis of the freedom of the press in Morocco in its annual report of the press in Morocco in its annual report of the World Ranking 2018 published on Wednesday. Morocco is the red zone that Reporters Without Borders describe as difficult situation. Well, we are in the 135th place. 135th place, losing 2 points compared to last year. As an example, we will take Hamid El-Mehdawi, a Moroccan journalist. In 2014, he founded the news site Badil.info, which he edited until 2017. On July 20, 2017, he was sentenced for his activism in the Iraq protest. Well, he was arrested for his activism in the case of the Iraq protest. He was arrested with no evidence, and they accused him of doing something he never did. He was arrested, ladies and gentlemen, for saying the truth, doing his job.
So just to answer the leader of the opposition, considering United States, one of the most democratic countries,
USA has a big problem of healthcare. So basically, American citizens can't afford the very expensive charges of treatments. So in conclusions, every country has its own bad sides and issues. Moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, I was sent by my team as an angel to save you from all this pessimism that was said. And to prove you that Morocco is for sure moving forwards in terms of democracy and human rights. And for that, I will start to prove my point from a very simple, yet very fundamental concept, the Constitution, as we know it Moroccans by Dostor. A constitution, according to Wikipedia, is the fundamental law of a state that determines the rights, freedom, and organization of power in the country. Public freedom, or basic human rights, is a topical issue. We hear about it every now and then, and we will still be hearing about it, as the fight for them is present in every society, including the most democratic ones. I will just remind you of how it all started in Morocco, just to see how far we've come. Throughout the years, 6 Moroccan constitutions have succeeded one another from the very first one in 1962 to the last one in 2011. But I'm just going to talk briefly about the most important changes, regardless of the limited time. 1962, the first experience. In fact, the constitutional history in Morocco begins in 1962, when it was adopted the first constitution ever. It introduced a regime that considered a parliamentary system which the king is at the top and the head of the government. But unfortunately, things did not went as planned. Eventually, it did not work. But luckily, the 1972 Constitution, ladies and gentlemen, compared with the previous one, is certainly an opening to more democracy. Constitutionally speaking, the king gave full power to the prime minister, but he is still, of course, under control by the king and the ministers concerned. The government function is itself sharper now. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, please later. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, where the magic starts. Since the accession of King Mohammed VI in 1999, a new era of respect and promotion of human rights has been inaugurated. Following the elections of July 2011, Morocco has adopted a new constitution that covers a long list of human rights, covering more than 22 articles. I repeat it, 22 articles just for human rights. In the following sentences, an enumeration of the rights guaranteed by the Constitution. I quote, "Equal rights. Both men and women enjoy equal rights and freedoms of political, economic, social nature." Article 19. Moving on, and as mentioned in Article 21, the non-discrimination in rights. Banning and fighting discrimination against anyone on the ground of sex, color, culture, religion, language, or any personal circumstances. And my personal favorite, Article 21, freedom of thought, opinion, and expression. Thank you.
Above all, I want to tell you that I'm extremely sorry that we have to live in a country which contains very little democracy and even a smaller amount of human rights. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today, I'm standing here in front of you to let you open your eyes and also to bring you out of this world of lies. You know, Morocco has approved the new law against sexual harassment, the new law 103/13. This new, last 12 September. This new law is aimed for protecting women in Morocco. It stipulates that anyone guilty of sexual harassment risks a sentence that varies between 1 year and 3 years of prison. Let's take an example of Nuzha Khli, a pharmacist, activist of the cause of women, and former Minister of Social Development, Family and Solidarity. Under the mandate of Abbas al-Fassi, she was invited in UPF to debate about this law 103/13. And guess what she said? She said, no, this law doesn't protect women. It does not penalize theft between spouses or marital rape. And she's right, because even though after the apparition of this law, 60%, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I said 60% of women said that and 60% of women claim to have been harassed sexually by their superiors, male colleagues, or even sometimes clients. Yes, clients. And to illustrate more the illusion that we are all living without knowing, a woman come to file a complaint against a man who harassed her sexually. And guess what the police officer told her? He told her, if you want justice, you have to go to Canada. She tells the journalist of Daily Asabah that the police officer would have refused to take a look at the convincing pieces such as a color-coding exchange with her attacker, and that he would have refused to hear witness. But in another way, he would have received the friend of her attacker. Seriously? That's why you call protecting women? Thank you. No, I think I don't need to add more. I think I don't need to add more, since this story said everything. Poor Morocco. In another hand, I want to talk with you about this big difference between private school and public school in Morocco. As a student of private school in Morocco, we should always say thanks God, because it's privilege being here. We are really lucky because it's privilege being here. We have opportunities that they don't have. They don't have. In private school, English is studied since elementary school. Well, in public school, it is studied under 3rd grade of junior high school. And it's the same thing for French. It's the same thing for French. We can also notice that there are some teachers there who prefer. There are some teachers there who prefer sitting and enjoy life instead of teaching. So students do not take advantage of their right to study. Once, my dad told me that many teachers in public school come to ask about certificate medicates because they were too lazy to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, greetings. I am looking at you all, dead into the eye, to inform you that I am a Moroccan. I am proud of my country. I am proud of what my country has done in the last 2 decades, especially in the domain of human rights and democracy. Why is that, ladies and gentlemen? Why is that? Ladies and gentlemen, I love my country, and I would risk my soul for it. I will defend it from enemies and trash talkers, because I love it. I love my country. It offers us every single kind of human rights. You don't believe me? I'm going to give you an example. After the advocates of humanrights.org, the most important human right is freedom from discrimination. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Morocco welcomes citizens from all over the world. Europe, Asia, America, Africa, Australia, everywhere. Basically, why do we welcome them here? Because they make us profit? Well, they do kind of make us profit, but it's not the only reason. Ladies and gentlemen, immigrants don't make us any kind of profit, but we still welcome them with open arms, give them job opportunities, give them everything they need, and so Mohammed King himself tries to give away as many identity cards as possible to give them what their own country has failed to give them, human rights. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to move on to the second and most important human rights, the right to life. We have banned death, we have banned death penalty. We have banned abortion. And the Moroccan police does its best to catch serial killers and criminals. And you guys still think that we don't have the right to life? Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are awfully wrong. Our Morocco doesn't take anyone's soul from his body. Instead, we try to give them a better environment where they could live. Moving on to the third most important right of liberty and personal security. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're not Libya to try to ensure back slavery.
Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
So, since you said that Morocco penalizes all the criminals and everything, can you please give us an example, clarify your point? Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
I said that since you said that Morocco has penalized all the big heads in our countries, not the small one, all the big criminals, can you please give us an example and clarify your point?
I'll give back to you in my second intervention. Moving on to the third most important right, as I said, liberty and personal security. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a brief example. Slavery Libya tried to ensure back slavery in their country. Mohammed King VI himself was strongly against that. But ladies and gentlemen, that's not all. Every single Moroccan citizen is independent. We all do whatever we want. Moving on, I'm going to be talking about personal security. I'm not going to be talking about bodyguards or anything like that, because not all of us can afford them, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be talking about our national police, our IHDI. Ladies and gentlemen, our IHDI is one of the most and high-tech police of all time. I'm just kidding around. Although, I think it should be an actual organization. But our national police has done its best lately to track every single criminal around here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a brief example. It's been 8 years, exactly 8 years, since the last terrorist attack. I repeat, 8 years. And you guys still think it's not... and you guys still think that we hadn't done enough development in this domain? Ladies and gentlemen, all you have to do is sit with your parents, watch Media TV for 2 seconds, and you'll see that the police has captured another one trying to make a bomb in his house, or has guns at his house or something like that. Moving on to the fourth most important right, but I think I'm going to keep it to my next intervention. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to clarify something. Morocco has done enough steps in human rights and democracy. Some parasites here will do the best to bring us down. But ladies and gentlemen, I repeat, Morocco has done enough improvement. Thank you so much.
Well, Mr. the Government Whip, if it has been 8 years or 7 years since the last terrorist attack, it has been only 1 month since a woman from Norway was killed by you know it. So why are you coming up here saying the opposite of what you believe in? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum, lovely to see you all here. Today we're having a very entertaining debate, aren't we? With some very interesting things being said. Without starting or saying anything, I just want to congratulate you, since you're doing your best to defend the undefendable. Cheers to you. Also, don't you ever forget that saying that Morocco has made steps in democracy and human rights would be as listening to arguments, and actually non-convincing arguments, and actually believing in them, which is quite unlikely, isn't it? Unlike my opponents, dear audience, I'm going to make things very clear, crystal clear. All you need to know about my intervention will be summed up in 3 things: justice and law.
Point of information.
Yes, please.
Alright, so basically, we're not defending the undefendable, we're defending facts. And second of all, the 1 month that happened, that's not considered as a terrorist attack. That was a murder, and murders happen everywhere in the world. A terrorist attack is when you blow something up, all you do is school shootings or something like that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. No need to get too emotional here. So, you say that murders happen everywhere. Does that mean that we should not talk about it? You're defending facts. I'll give you facts. I'll give you sources. I'll give you statistics. I'll give you everything you want. Don't worry. So, all you need to know about my intervention will be summed up in 3 things. 3 simple things: justice and law, women's rights, and corruption levels. For justice and law, first of all, dear audience, according to the World Justice Report, which evaluates the integrity of a country based on whether the law is applied or not, based on whether the law is applied or not, we have been ranked 67th. 67th on 113 countries. Did you know what that means? And as if things weren't already that bad, it keeps on getting worse and worse as each day passes by. Now, Miss the Deputy Prime Minister, I've heard you talking about women's rights. Oh, please. Don't even get me started on that. What a mess it is. Did you know, dear audience, that we have been ranked 113 on 140 countries? Did you know, members of the government, that although we are in the bottom of the rankings, unsurprisingly, because that's Morocco for you, we are still decreasing each day? No, of course you have no idea about that, since you only know what they make you want to know. Also, while I was throughout my intervention, I saw some skeptical faces out here, and even in the jury. So, you want more evidence? I'll give you more evidence. Corruption. Every day, no, what am I saying? I forgot we were talking about Morocco here. Every hour, there's a new case of corruption. And actually, today, we're at our peak of it. Since every day, every year, we're getting our corruption rate increases by 10%. So to say it all, we went back by 7 places. We went back by 7 places in justice and law, according to the World Justice Report. We went back by 2 places since last year's study, according to the International Forum for Women's Rights. And we went back, and we're increasing in corruption levels since last year's study, according to the International Forum for Corruption Studies. So, even though we're getting back, I wonder why you're still out here preaching how democratical we are becoming. Quit the nonsense, please.
Since the beginning of this debate, I've noticed that in front of us we have a team that is kind of trying to convince us all that Morocco has not made steps toward democracy and the development of human rights. That denies all the efforts made by our country, and that doesn't want to give any tribute, tribute to any of the actions and progress that we've made. Dear friends, open your eyes widely and feel the change. Morocco has been on a steady path of reform for decades, and we all know that in 2011 exactly, we, Moroccans, voted overwhelmingly in favor of a new constitution that maintained and enhanced Morocco's reformist path by establishing a constitutional monarchy with separation of powers, enhanced responsibilities for local and regional governments, and clear support for the multicultural, multi-religious character of the Moroccan society where we are living now, which is not perfect, and I agree is far away from perfection, but which is on a good path. Dear friends, our hopes for a more just, safe, and democratic country can be only achieved when we first believe in ourselves and in our union. We believe that we are moving toward greatness. Don't just sit on your places and judge. We have to believe, because as I may think, believing is half achieving. And least but not last, the democracy and the development that we are seeking for won't be coming and knocking our doors. Let's go and knock on its doors. Thank you.
To start, I want to respond to the member of the government, please. First of all, I didn't talk about what you said. I talked about the fact that they are telling her husband that they are giving her medicine when they don't. I'll let you think about what you said. 11.4% of poverty, 32% of illiteracy. People are dying every day because of lack of doctors and hospitals. Others are being arrested, and that's for the simple reason, which is demanding their needs and expressing their anger toward the society. Believe it or not, this is our country, Morocco, the country that our dear opponents claims that she had made steps. The country that only had the identity of criminals and not the identity of a simple man who choose to live his life gay. The country that whenever you go, you get sexually harassed, human rights, or should I say, women's rights. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think that any one of us would like to see his country going down, and that is the case for me too. But unfortunately, we cannot keep lying to ourselves by saying that Morocco had made steps, Morocco had developed, etc., which is not the case at all. Dear audience, this is not a story. and I'm not a storyteller. This is our problems. This is the problems that we are facing right now. This is the problems that made of Morocco what we are defending right now. And thank you.
Sorry. Well, when I first came to this school, this year, I was so surprised. You know by what? Well, I was surprised by a girl telling her teacher not using the phone in the classroom. Just like other students and teachers, it is forbidden. So here we can see also equality between teenagers and adults. Not only gender equality, but teenager and adult equality. In Morocco, which is a new thing to our generation, of course. When being a Moroccan citizen isn't a bad thing like the most of you think. You should be proud of it and its laws and government and everything. Morocco now, according to my research, is a leader in the Arab world on human rights, women's rights and religious freedom. For more than 20 years, the country has undertaken substantial initiatives to promote and protect citizens' rights. Civil liberties, including freedom of speech, the press, assembly, and association, are enshrined in Morocco's constitution. Gender equality is guaranteed under the law. The right to freedom of worship is protected. Wives in Morocco share responsibility for family with their husbands and have equal rights to property divorce. And I'll just answer our dear opposite whip. Yeah. If there is change, ladies and gentlemen, there is evolution. And the best example we can give in this debate are us. Yeah, us. You and you and you and you. Yes. After all, can you just accept it? The world we're living in is so much better than the way it was back then. And if Morocco had not made steps into democracy and human rights, believe me, we would not be living peacefully.
I wanted to answer, not because you see equality here, that means there is everyone in Morocco. With all due respect, if the government could just hear themselves out, because they've been trying since the very beginning to make you swallow some insubstantial arguments. For all the say that you just said, well, I'd agree with you, but then we'd be both wrong. So just let us keep it that way. The example that I'll say is going to be a little bit more of concrete, like the real life we're living. It's going to give you the absolute certainty that we had not made any steps forward. Well, I bet you know the Iraq protest, right? Well, if not, it's a series of protests in Al-Husayma, the countryside of northern Morocco. One of its principal cases is the death of Mohsin Fikri, who was dead in a tragic way, crushed in a garbage truck. The demands that the movement requested were so simple, something that a so sad democratic country would have provided to its cities, such as human rights, security, social and economic areas. Thank you.
Okay, just to answer the opposition whip, we said that murder is all over the world, and it's true. But we did not mean that we should forget about this. That's why we have something, I don't know if you ever heard of it, it's called the police. Anyway, to give you more evidence, ladies and gentlemen, that Morocco is making a progress in democracy, I will base my arguments on the impact of social media on it. The future of democracy in Morocco is in fact healthier with the internet, which means people create a public sphere where they communicate, share their opinion and their thoughts. A study on digital media in Morocco was made to examine the appearance of new social media and its impact on democracy. And the study found that the internet has created a dynamic and public sphere. What I'm saying right now is studies, facts, something undeniable. Okay, one of the most relevant examples that I can give you, and you all know it, is the boycott movement that was spread in Morocco last year on April 20. So basically, Moroccans were unsatisfied with the price of certain products such as milk, water, and gas. So they started the well-known hashtag on Facebook, خليه قرب, which means let it curdle. The first target was milk. Then more precisely, Centrale Danone. The movement gained a little visibility over the weekend, and it started targeting Africa and Sidi Ali. Even foreign TV channels have talked about this. See, ladies and gentlemen, the impact that we made just by launching a peaceful movement on internet. We succeeded to push these companies to lower their prices. Just imagine what we could do in the next few years. Thank you.
You want to know why we talk about murders? It's because you so-called police isn't doing their work. Well. I'm really sorry for you, dear audience, that you had to hear such things. I bet your ears might be hurt too. So, let's start my intervention. Even a pet animal is better treated. So, 17 years old, Fatima, one of thousands of young girls exploited and too often abused while working as housemaids for unscrupulous employers in Morocco. I only wanted to help my family, murmurs the teenager. In 2010, study carried out by non-governmental bodies reported that Morocco had between 66 and 80,000 domestic workers aged under 15 years old. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 15 years old. It means that none of these 80,000 domestic girls take advantage of their childhood. Omar Sadouni says once that the fate of maids such as Fatima starts with failure at school in a rural setting, poverty, and parental ignorance. The thing that proved that my team and I have risen, because if Morocco really cared, they would provide them all the requirements they need, such as school next to their house, hospitals, and also enough help for their parents. Sadly, Morocco is failing year after year, every month, every year, every month, every day, and every minute. So we can understand from that Morocco didn't make steps in democracy and human rights.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm going to start off by responding to you guys both at the same time. Two birds with one stone. First of all, Mr. Fitnasi, you talk about the girl that... I'm sorry, Mr. Opposition Whip. I'm going to be talking about the girl that got murdered herself. I'm going to give her an example. As soon as she got murdered, the police got on his way and did its job. Isn't that right, member of the opposition? We can clearly see that the police actually does its job. Moving on. I'm going, as I promised you all, I'm going to be talking about the fourth and fifth most important human right. First of all, the fourth most important human right is the freedom of torture. After the death of King Hassan rahimahullah, the King Muhammad VI became our current king. And first thing he did, he liberated every single prisoner from Tazmamart. Ladies and gentlemen, he tries to give them a better life. He tries to make them enjoy what they had left. Ladies and gentlemen, some of them died, some of them are still alive. But we can clearly see that our king himself actually cares about human rights and democracy, and is doing his best to actually succeed. Moving on to the fifth and most important, I think, human right. It is freedom of choosing your religion. In Morocco, after العطس العربي للدول العربية, 98% of Moroccans are Muslims, which means 2% of Moroccans are either Christian, Buddhist, or maybe don't believe in religion at all. And overall, I think we go around well with each other. Ladies and gentlemen, I've never seen someone fight another one here in Morocco because of their religion. I've never seen anything like that here in Morocco. So we can clearly check on the fifth right, which means we can clearly check on all of the rights. Ladies and gentlemen, Morocco has achieved, I think, enough rights. It has made enough steps. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's all hold hands together. The more we are, the better. The better we are, the stronger. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
So, members of the government, you're just going to act like we didn't give you any sources, any statistics, any arguments, any convincing arguments, shall I say. Okay. But I'm going to take what you said. Mr. the government whip, you said that the police did his work. Yeah, but when? After it was all over the web, after it was all over the internet, after it became an international issue. And sure, Morocco, I can conceive that Morocco has made steps in democracy and human rights, but don't you ever forget that those are steps back, not steps forward. And yes, Haliwa can say whatever he wants, whenever he wants, but is it really the freedom of speech we're aiming for? I don't think so. Yeah. So, after giving you all those arguments, those convincing arguments, those statistics, those sources, everything you need, I'm going to assume that you made up your minds. But now I'm going to share with you all a secret. If I came here, yes, of course I came here to convince all of you, to convince the jury, the audience, and to win over you members of the government. But if I really came here, it's to awaken you, since I feel that our generation... You see, that's frustration. Since I'm talking about my beloved Morocco is going down each day after day. So, since I feel that my generation is sleeping, well, while others are developing, we are decreasing in every field possible. We are decreasing in every field possible. So, yes, Morocco didn't make any steps towards democracy and human rights. But does that mean that we have to keep our hands crossed, not doing anything? No, I don't think so. So, awaken. Instead of playing Fortnite, go raise your minds. Instead of playing those games, go read. And don't you ever forget, please, be the change you want to see in the world. Thank you.